Hey, what's up? In this video, it's going to be a little bit of a rapid fire video where I share 10 book recommendations. These are going to be specifically books that changed the way that I thought about the world and systems and just how things work, and maybe it can do the same for you. So without further ado, timestamps are going to be down below, and let's dive right in. The first book is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I actually have it right there in my bookshelf. It was such a good book that I decided to get the physical copy. And essentially what this book lines out is a framework with the acronym DEAL. So define, eliminate, automate, and liberate. And really what this covers is how to better define what you want in life and be more intentional about what you want in life, and then achieving that by doing less. And two ideas that I would like to share from that book. The first is the 80-20 principle. And what this is, it's the idea that 20% of the inputs you put in, or the effort you put into something, will generate 80% of your outcomes. For example, 80% of the time you will wear only 20% of your clothes. Or 20% of the exercises you do in a given workout will provide you with 80% of your gains, right? And it's not always going to be 80-20. Sometimes it could be 90-10, 95-5, or 70-30. But really it's to illustrate the disproportionate correlation between inputs and outputs. And so what we can take from this is that there are many tasks that we do that don't account for many results at all. And so if we want to be more productive, we should focus solely or double down on the 20% of tasks that will have disproportionate results. The second idea is Parkinson's Law. So pretty much what this is, it's the idea that a task expands to fill up the time allotted to it. So for example, if you have a homework assignment and you have a month to give it in, if you don't give yourself another deadline, like another personal deadline, it's probably going to take you a month to complete it. And so what we can learn from that in order to be more productive is to often give ourselves shorter time slots to complete tasks. Doing less meaningless work so that you can focus on things of greater personal importance is not laziness. This is hard for most to accept because our culture tends to reward personal sacrifice over personal productivity. The second book is The Dip by Seth Godin. What this book talks about is this idea of progress, and more specifically the dip, which is what you will encounter whenever you face a long-term project such as a relationship, a business you want to start, or for example this YouTube channel. And what happens is when you start out, you will have a lot of excitement and you will be ready to take on this new endeavor. And you will probably work on stuff that probably doesn't matter that much, like maybe you work on the channel banner and that's super exciting. You work on the colors of your brand and whatever. But then after a point, you start to get into the difficult, more uncomfortable work. And that's where most people will quit. And so what the book suggests is you should eliminate a bunch of projects where you do quit at the dip and you settle for being mediocre. And instead, taking those resources that you invest in those dips and putting it into a select few amount of dips. And what this does is it means that you'll have enough resources to actually cross that dip and get on the other side where most people are not, and that makes you indispensable and valuable. Strategic quitting is a conscious decision you make based on the choices that are available to you. If you realize that you are at a dead end compared to what you could be investing in, quitting is not only a reasonable choice, it's a smart one. The next book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the main thing I took away from this book is the idea of how to spend your time. And what it illustrates is you should never trade your time for money that you will then spend on non-essential luxuries. Rather, you should spend your time working to either build an asset that will make you money, which With that money, you can then buy non-essential things or spend that time to learn something. I recommend to young people to seek work for what they will learn more than what they will earn. Look down the road at what skills they want to acquire before choosing a specific profession and getting trapped in the rat race. The next book is The Power of Now. And this book had a simple insight, but it was a powerful insight. And that was the realization that you are not your thoughts. Most people don't know how to listen because the major part of their attention is taken up by thinking. Next up is The Four Agreements. This covers some similar topics to The Power of Now, and really it shows how we all live in our own constructed realities because of the beliefs we hold. And so with some of the rules, such as don't take anything personally or don't make assumptions, these are all things that attempt to guide you to a more objective view of reality and a more peaceful and positive view of reality. If others tell us something, we make assumptions. And if they don't tell us something, we make assumptions to fulfill our need to know and replace our need to communicate. Even if we hear something and don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means and then believe the assumptions. We make all sorts of assumptions because we don't have the courage to ask questions. Next up is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is probably on everyone's top books that changed my life list, but yeah, it's pretty good, so here it is. It's about how everyone has this craving to feel important. And if you can appeal to that and talk to people about the things that they are interested in and the stuff that's going on in their life, they will feel good when you do that. And because of that, they will like you. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. The next book is The One Thing. This book is similar to The 4-Hour Workweek as it talks about how you should do less in order to achieve more. And this book was really important when I read it because at the time I was trying to do this YouTube channel and do an Instagram page as well as school and pursue some freelance copywriting. And after reading this book, I realized that was just a lot too much. So I put this channel on pause and I stopped the Instagram thing completely and I really focused on freelance copywriting. And that actually led to some success there. There's a very powerful question in this book, and it goes, what is the one thing you could do that would make everything else easier or irrelevant? It's not that we have too little time to do all the things we need to do. It is that we feel the need to do too many things in the time we have. Next up is another book by Seth Godin, Linchpin. I don't have as much to talk about for this one, but really it kind of opened my eyes to the fact that you don't need to actually get a traditional job. More so, you need to focus on providing indispensable value. And since the rise of the internet, this has become more and more possible. There are fewer and fewer good jobs where you can get paid merely for showing up. Instead, successful organizations are paying for people who make a difference and are shedding everyone else. The next book is Mistakes Were Made, but Not by Me. You might have heard of cognitive dissonance. Pretty much it's this idea where it's very uncomfortable for us to have two conflicting beliefs. And because of this, we have a tendency to justify our actions even if logic suggests that our actions are immoral, hurtful, whatever. And so self-justification after self-justification is ultimately how we are led down a very terrible and immoral path. Most people, when confronted by evidence that they are wrong, do not change their point of view or course of action, but justify it even more tenaciously. Even irrefutable evidence is rarely enough to pierce the mental armor of self-justification. Finally, another classic personal development book, Atomic Habits. Ultimately, your life is comprised of many small habits that you often confront every day, if not every week, or very often. And if you want to improve your life, what this book suggests is you need to look at the habit loop for each of these habits. And so the habit loop is cue, craving, routine, reward. And if you want to improve or to create better habits, what you must do is to reduce the friction on all of these levels of the habit loop. So that would mean you want to make it obvious, and you want to make it appealing, you want to make it easy to do, and you want to make it rewarding. If you want to quit a habit, you want to make it invisible, hard to do, not appealing, and not rewarding. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. If you're new to the channel, my name is Max. On this channel, you can expect videos on self-development, online entrepreneurship as I get more into that, as well as some ideas on creativity. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was sort of just off the top of my head, so I hope my ideas were clear. That's it for today. Stay awesome, and I'll see you next week.